Hey guys, sorry I kind of missed last week. I was both sick and injured. Actually, still am injured. Was hobbling around on crutches for a slight while. My heel got really kind of jacked up. And then when I was actually ready to give it a go, I got food poisoning and it just totally bleh. I'm back just for all my loving fan. Being as how I haven't really had a chance to see any good movies since last time, I decided, since I was hard up for some updates, I would do something a little different. On the update front, if you haven't checked out my Wattpad thing, I'm up to chapter 3 as of the making of this. Hopefully I'll have up 4 shortly. That's the whole Regan side story prequel thing. But again, since I didn't post last week and I haven't really done anything worthy of doing another movie review, I decided to try something a little bit different, and this one's a little bit nerve-wracking for me. I like to consider myself an introvert that does extroverted things. I've got a wall full of my professional wrestling masks from my time in the ring, and I've got all my media badges from all the stuff I go out and film. And as far as YouTube goes, I don't think I've even ever commented on someone else's YouTube page. But for me, it's always that I don't really want to bother other people. Usually if it's bad enough that I think I should tell them something's wrong with their channel, then it's probably best that I just leave their channel alone. And if they're doing good work, I usually just give a nice thumbs up and leave it at that. As far as my book goes, an author named Jenna Moretzi is arguably the most influential person in me completing my first draft of the story, that I would make this video reply to her. In one of her latest ones, she did a writer tag where she answered 10 questions about how she goes through her writing process and everything. And while she didn't tag me specifically, obviously, she did put out this kind of open call for anyone to put something in there. So I'm gonna try to step up and get out of my comfort zone. And number 1, what do you eat or drink while writing? Now, anyone that knows me and anyone that has eyes can see that I obviously eat and drink many things, but surprisingly, while I'm writing, I don't really eat or drink much. I guess water. I don't like to eat really late, and I do a lot of my better writing super late at night. I'm talking like 10 p.m. at the minimum, and oftentimes well into the morning. There's not any particular snack foods or anything I can even think of, but yeah, believe it or not, just water. Number 2, what do you listen to while writing? I have kind of one big playlist that I use and just kind of drop up and down depending on what the scene's calling for. Some of the songs are just a general purpose, gets me in the mood for my story in general, and others are specific to characters, and others are specific to scenes. So I've got a lot of demons in my story, and there's a lot of fighting with demons and fighting with werewolves and all kinds of other creatures, and so some of the music I like to listen to for that, it's heavier, grittier stuff, metal. I've got Rob Zombie, Super Beast. As a general one, I've got Soldiers by Otherwise. And that just gets me in this kind of sacrifice mood of people strapping their boots and ready to go out there and die if that's what the whole thing is calling for. I've got a character in my story I really liked named Ariete. She specifically is very kind of sexual and very willing to use her feminine wiles. Ariete has this almost Jessica Rabbit-esque feeling to her, and so I really like Amy Lee's version of Baby Did a Bad Bad Thing. Some stuff from the soundtrack of Ruby. Believe it or not, the theme song for Zack Ryder, a WWE wrestler, gets me jazzed for a very specific character. There's just a bit of my playlist. I don't have any specific one artist that gets me through the whole thing. I go everything from really heavy to some love songs to some like out there kind of wacky stuff. Number 3. What is your biggest distraction while you're writing? Probably like the 5 other screens that are open. I don't know. Writing, I absolutely love writing, but I am very easy to distract. And so what'll happen is I'll do something like I'll start writing about a fight scene where Samantha's fighting this demon and she's going at it, and I'm thinking, is that really the way that she would be fighting? And I start thinking about how her fight style is going to differ from some of the other paladins. And so I start going on and I start researching MMA fights, and then I start looking at MMA versus Kung Fu, and then I start looking at Kung Fu versus, all this other different martial arts style, and how they compare with each other and what they look like, and when people with these different styles clash, what it kind of looks like. And then before I know it, I've forgotten about writing and I'm watching like fight videos, and I'm looking up Wikipedia stuff on different types of martial arts. And I guess it's technically related to the writing, but it's really easy for me to lose track and just get onto that and just be like, oh yeah, it's been an hour since I typed something. Number 4, what is the worst thing that has happened to you while writing? I don't think a lot of bad things have happened to me while writing. Especially since I watched Jenna's video and she said she lost 15 pages. And God, I don't even know if I would come back from that. I guess I probably would. I think maybe I've lost a page before. I don't know. Maybe not writing specifically, but I did lose an entire organizational chart in order to keep kind of everything flowing with, then this many days passed and then this happened, and then this many days passed and then this happened and then this happened, all on the same day, and then we went a couple days. So to keep that in order, I started keeping a calendar where I just gave a semi-arbitrary day where this is the day that Jonathan joined the Paladins, boom, and then count, okay, and the next scene took place on this day, and I was keeping very meticulous notes on this, and I was only keeping it on a flash drive. I had to go out of town to take care of some family business, and I thought, I'll take this with me, work on it. I lost the flash drive. All those notes are gone, and I currently do not know what day things take place on, because I'm planning on just going back through after I've re-edited the whole thing. And number 5, what is the best thing that has ever happened to you while writing? That's an awkward question, because writing is like the best thing that happens to me when I'm writing. I guess I want to say maybe like I've come up with something and like pushed through something, like some bit of writer's block. That almost always happens just when I'm going through my regular day, when I'm just laying about, or when I'm out at work, or when I'm walking through town. So I can't say that anything like amazing has ever really happened while I was writing, other than I was writing. Bit of a boring answer, but scratch that. Still kind of a cop-out, but slightly modified. The best thing that happened to me while writing was the feeling I got when I finished the first draft and typed the words "the end." That was the best thing. And I know it's going to be even sweeter when I come through and see it again after editing it. Number 6, who do you communicate with when you're writing? Well, for me, it has to be my missus. She has supported me through like everything that I've done, from the foolish wrestling encounters to my voiceover stuff, to going out and moving us to Las Vegas, to definitely this book. And she is like my biggest fan for a while there, and I mean, it still happens, but basically as I'm writing, she's there poking her head in going,
"Do you have another chapter then? Can I read another chapter?"
The part of me that doesn't want to give myself any credit always thinks she's doing this just because she's my wife. But then, like, she starts hounding me. Like, I go a day or two without writing. She's like,
"You haven't written anything."
"No, I haven't."
"I want to know what happens next to Regan."
You know, she's there to kind of talk things out. I'll be writing a scene and I'll poke my head out and be like, "Do you think it'd be better if Jonathan, like, fell down and found this thing? Or do you think it'd be better if he grabbed it on his own? It was more, you know, do you think it'd look better if he was more proactive and he took this weapon or whatever up?" And she'll weigh in on it. I'll be like, okay, that kind of gives me a better perspective. I have called her from work between shoots and been like, "Hey, I just figured out what to do with this character." I'm not saying the character's name, but this is a real example. "Yeah, that character that was just supposed to be like one scene and just almost a MacGuffin. Yeah, I figured out what to do with them."
Ooh, that's pretty good.
A week later, "Figured out something better to do. How about this?"
"That's even better."
And she's just been there. And honestly, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to complete any of this. Number 7. What is your secret to success and your biggest writing flaw? I have attained no level of measurable success as of yet, so I can't actually say that I have any secrets to give. My biggest writing flaw? Do I have to narrow it down to just the one? Sometimes I just can't keep everything together. For instance, I only just recently, after years, managed to finish the first draft of this manuscript. But by the time I'd done that, I not only had ideas to continue Jonathan's story for at least 2 more books, but 2 of the other characters, I had an extension for that could either go in short stories or could go in like a teleplay that I could try to put out there for a television series. Of course, then I started doing Regan's sort of prequel on Wattpad, so that's 3 things. Then I thought about another character that could have a good spin-off and a little group that he could start, and so that one's 4. And then I even started thinking about a 5th one about this tie together that would put all the different stories together with one kind of world event that happens, and how that would change everything, and then what the stories would have to be like after that. So my brain is going everywhere, and I'm trying to like figure out all these things that aren't important yet because I haven't finished the base work. I haven't built the foundation of the house, and I'm already trying to set up a plasma screen TV. Another one is just plain getting to work sometimes. I can get into these great spurts where I just hit it and hit it and hit it, and I write out a chapter and I write out a chapter, and then I might go like days, and then it starts to feel like an obligation, and then I don't want to. Once it feels like an obligation, then I just don't want to. And then even worse, then I start thinking, what am I doing? This is like the worst story ever. And honestly, if it wasn't for seeing other writers like Ms. Moresi talk about the same thing, I probably could have given in to some of those feelings, but I understand that all authors, good, bad, and indifferent, think their work sucks at one point or another. Number 8. What is your inspiration and what makes you productive? The question feels a little ambiguous because I'm not sure if they mean inspiration like on a daily basis, like what inspires me to get writing, what gets me moving and gets me productive, or what was my inspiration to kind of start it. So I'll try to answer both of them, I guess. Honestly, the Paladins evolved from a really kind of silly idea that I had years and years and years ago when I was trying to write a completely different book. I believe my inspiration was E. Nomine's Vater unser. And that got me thinking, ooh, what if there was like this superhero-esque kind of character, like a priest, and as he made his way towards like vampires and demons and whatnot, he would say this prayer, and when he said this prayer, like he would get this power. And it wasn't, in my mind, it wasn't like this religious thing, it was just like the whole mythos of it is kind of just like cool, I thought. So music kind of started everything with E Nomine, and moving to what gets me productive, music continues it. When I discover a new song, I immediately start seeing my characters moving with it, and then it like helps me flesh out these scenes. And once I've got a scene fleshed out, I have to go and I have to write it. Like I said, the character of Arietti wasn't very fleshed out until I heard Amy Lee's Baby Did a Bad Bad Thing, and all of a sudden, like, that is Arietti. That is Angelina Arietti. That is the character she is. And then I had to start writing her. I had to start writing things about her, and I loved it. And so what gets me productive is making sure I get the right music at the right time. As far as something that just keeps me going, well, I mean, I'm doing this blog, even though I really kind of don't want to, because I've got this dream, and I know that this, even if it's in some small way, is going to help me move forward. And so really, I guess what moves me in that way is my desire to make this, to make writing, to make the stories that I love, to make that a viable option for paying the bills. I don't, as much as I love like going and shooting stuff and being behind the camera, I will gladly give that up if I can stay at home and earn a living typing out all the stories that are in my head. That would be a real dream come true for me. And that is what forces me, when I'm not feeling it, to get into the computer room, to sit down and to start editing, to start typing, to start researching, to do whatever it takes to move my story forward and move my dream forward. Number 9, what is one thing that you do or that other writers do that is super annoying? Okay, so I guess this question kind of assumes that I have writer friends. I don't really know what writers do that would annoy people. I am desperately afraid of being that guy that starts every conversation, that enters every social engagement, and answers every question with, well, when I was writing my last novel. Some people I know, the minute they're writing this, it's out there in the internet, into the ether, going out to the world, and everyone knows they are a writer and they are writing. More people know that I participated in pro wrestling than know that I was a writer. I did put it out there on Twitter that I had just finished the manuscript, and so one of my coworkers actually asked me, hey, I saw you're doing this, you know, should I read your book? And I was just like, boom, alarms are going off. What are you doing? He wants to know if he should read your book. No, just tell him no, tell him it's really stupid. No, don't do that. You can't put down your own work. Well, he's looking at you. You have to come up with something. What do you tell him? Yeah, sure, let me get you a link. And it was slightly less painful than I thought it would be. But that's what I'm really afraid of. I don't want to be like, hey, I write, you should really check out my work.
Have you checked out my work? Here's the website for it. By the way, let me send you a link.
That's what I'm really afraid of. Maybe I underdo it so much that gets annoying. Does that count? Did I cop out on another question? Final question. Are you willing to share something that you've written? I am most definitely willing to share stuff that I've written. In fact, if you go down into my description for this video, you'll see a link to my Wattpad. And that will show you the Regan story, as I'm calling it. It's called The Paladin Chronicles. And it details Regan McCarthy's journey from an acolyte in training to become a paladin to his days as an actual full-on paladin, going out into the world and saving people from vampires and demons and werewolves and wendigos and banshees and ghosts and goblins and dungeons and dragons. Please check that out. If you want to check out my actual writing, well, there should be another link below that, betabooks.co, and up there I have the first 7 chapters of my novel posted for beta readers to check out, and anyone can come and beta read it. They just have to sign up on the site. It's actually really useful for connecting with your betas and getting feedback from them. It's a brand new website. There's only, as of this thing, about 75 of us using it. So we'd really like to see more people get out there and try it out. If you want to see the actual work I'm doing, betabooks.co, and just follow the link down in the description and you can find my book, The Paladin. First 7 chapters are up as of now. I'll try to get chapter 8 up soon, and you can give feedback on it and let me know what you think. Definitely willing to put my stuff out there, which in itself has been a challenge. I've gone from no, you can't see, to please? Anyone? All right, so because I don't know anyone on YouTube, I can't tag anyone else. If by some miracle someone followed the comment section from Jenna Moressi's page over here and saw this and decided, wow, if that schlup can do it, anyone can, then I choose you. I'll put those questions down in the doobly-doo with everything else. That's all I've got for this week. Thank you for checking me out. Could really use a like, and if you really like my stuff and you were entertained, maybe consider subscribing. It's right there. Right there. Don't forget, check me out on Twitter, @Matias Tautimez, on Instagram, Matias Tautimez. Find me on Facebook, check me out on Wattpad, and of course, now that I'm on betabooks.co, give that a shot. It's awesome. You'll love it for your own writing if you're doing it, and if you don't feel like putting your own stuff out there, there's a ton of people on there who would love to get your feedback. And of course, please check out my website, matiastautimez.weebly.com. Bye.